Oh, morning everyone. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, how's everyone doing? Morning, guys. Morning, morning. Morning, everyone. How's it going? How's it going? Where's our chat box? Hang on. Just into Nico Rosberg. Just Nico Rosberg's talking about George and Max, so just want to hear what he's got to say about it. Morning, Pete. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Nick. Man, good to see you. Daisy. Nico's just like buying into it. Morning, Carl. Yes, wet and wild and windy weather. That is for sure here in the UK today. Storm Dara. I think it's Dara. Is it Dara? Storm Dara has made its way through. Yeah, Dara. Dangerous Dara. Here in the UK. Hey, Robert. Yeah, good, thank you. They're doing well. Little one's sleeping. Mum's probably sleeping as well on the sofa. She was a bit tired when I left her. Red alert? I don't know if it's red alert, if it's that bad. They're just advising you, obviously, to be careful when you go out. So, I mean, definitely, my furniture on my balcony's been moving about. So, in our flat. 9:20 PM and good one, Nick. Oh, fuck, you've already had your day. I feel like I'm still waking up. I'm definitely hungover right now, guys. I still feel a little bit woo from last night. Some Christmas drinks last night, so. But don't worry, never fear. I'm here to do this watch along for you and provide you some great content. Yeah, what time is it where you are, Taco? Do you ever sleep? Do you even sleep? Isn't it like 4 AM? 11:23. Nice, nice. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's mid-morning here in the UK because it's so dark. Miserable. Absolutely miserable. So, keep the drinks going, Nick. I know, that's the best way they say to get over a hangover is just to keep drinking. But no, I'm on the coffee. I've had a nice cheese toasty. So hopefully that sorts me out. I may need a nap in between FP3 and qualifying. They all drive for Haas now. I know. They've all got the colours out there. But yes, FP3, let's see what this has in store for us, eh? Can Red Bull fix their issues with that car that they were struggling with yesterday? Max wasn't happy. So we'll see if he can get into the fray, as we always expect him to do. Will Russell be able to sort out his issues as well? And give us some drama up front with Verstappen, which I think a lot of people are hoping for. And, well, let's see if Ferrari can close the gap to McLaren. They looked very good yesterday, McLaren. Of course, Charles Leclerc has that 10-place grid penalty for that extra battery unit. So, yeah, not good. Looking good for Ferrari's chances in the Constructors. 3:20 AM. Oh, my God. Committed, Taco. Committed. Storm in the UK is driving you crazy, Freda. Morning, Michelle. Good to see you. Andrew, what time is Quali? Quali is at 2 PM UK time, I think. Hello. Let's have a quick check. 2 PM UK time, yeah. 2 PM UK time. Oh, I'm not going back over with the Max and Russell thing. There's plenty of information out there of what happened with Max and Russell, so Just type it in and you'll see all the quotes. I'm surprised they didn't put together a special livery for Lewis. Yeah, I mean, apparently they've got everyone's... So you could sign up to Mercedes. They're running like a competition. And if you was like a Mercedes member or something, you could get your name put on... You could put your name put on the car or something. But yeah, nothing too special. So... We will see how good Leclerc can be. We know how good Verstappen is. Yeah, I think Ferrari, with a new battery power unit, it's going to help him. But, of course, we know how difficult it can be to overtake this year. While we've had some good racing, there's plenty of circuits where they've come unstuck with the dirty air. And Abu Dhabi's... We've seen overtakes, and we haven't. Really, Abu Dhabi is one of those circuits where... You need a tyre advantage, really, to overtake. If you're kind of on similar tyres, then you don't really see a lot of overtaking. Of course, we have 2 DRS zones here. It's all about getting the traction. I mean, you can get... It's all about the rear traction out of turn 5 and out of turn 7, really. So, FP3 starts in literally a few minutes' time, on the half-hour mark. Quali starts at 6 PM, Stefano. That's a nice time. That's a nice time, evening quali. It's 4:30. I know, I appreciate you guys early in the morning tuning into the watch along for FP3. The last FP3 session of the year. Can you believe it? 24 race weekends we've had, and we haven't missed a single one. Missed a couple of sessions, of course, here and there, but we've made every single race. And we'll be doing so again this year. So who will win the last race? Can McLaren wrap up the Constructors with that 21 points advantage? Hopefully, I think. For their sake, anyway. 26 years? I thought it was 24. I heard 26 years it's been since they last wrapped up the Constructors. Travesty if they don't do it. Really, considering the car they've had this year. But Ferrari, wouldn't be too sad to see Ferrari win it either. The car doesn't even have Britney's name. Who is my favourite on the current grid? So I've always said I support the Brits primarily. I always want the Brits to do well. And then as I get to know drivers more, I tend to like drivers more. So yeah, I like the Brits, of course. Lewis is a favourite of mine for sure. Watched him obviously racing since he joined F1 back in 2007, I think it was. I'm a fan of Piastri, and I'm also a fan of Charles Leclerc. I really do like both of those drivers. And I'm starting to like. I like what I see from Liam Lawson as well. I like Liam Lawson. I'm a supporter of his as well. So British bias. I know. How dare I? How dare I support my countrymen? How dare I? Hey David, afternoon from Jakarta. Have you got much better weather over there than we have here in the UK at the moment? McLaren was a completely different team back then. I know. But let's see what they can do. How many different countries follow along with me? Quite a few, David. Yeah, I can. When I go into my analytics, I can see how many people. Not how many people, but you can see like the breakdown of where people are tuned in from. So yeah, it's truly global. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, it's truly global. And for British biasness, by the way, guys, I do see that a number of you are from the Netherlands. So yes, I must be doing something right if a lot of you tune in from the Netherlands. Who is taking the championship next year? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? That is the $1 million question. Who knows? If it's like this season, it could be a number of drivers. Thank you, Kirfi. Welcome from India. Global audience so created, connected world. Exactly. Connected for our love of F1. Mark! Welcome back to the pit crew, buddy. Welcome. You're red, so you've been a member for over a month, so thank you, man. Next year might be Leclerc's, it might be Hamilton's, it might be Lando's, it might be Piastri's, it might be Russell's. I mean, it could be Verstappen's again. I don't really care as long as we have a great close title fight. That's what we want. So again, Mark, good to see you back, man. I don't think bias is important. It's the way it's delivered. Exactly, David. And it's nice to show who you support as well. I think people don't like the TV card. I think what people think, do people truly want unbiased... I guess when you're commentating, yes, like you want to commentate on what you're seeing. But with punditry and stuff, do you truly want people who are unbiased? Do you want people who do have a bit of an opinion? Do you want people who do support other drivers and so forth? As long as you're open with who you are supporting, I think that's fair. As long as you're not over the top with that biasness, of course. Like, we're only human. We're allowed to support teams, drivers, more so than others, you know? McLaren are winning this year's Constructors Championship because of Leclerc. Yeah, I think so, Ben. Definitely on the back foot, aren't they? So, engines are too reliable now, and Mr. blowing up engines on last lap. Yes, we do unbiased commentators. I get it, yeah. I mean, commentators, yes, unbiased. But I think when it comes to punditry, that's why you follow content creators, I guess, because we're able to give our opinion more so than what TV coverage is able to do. So, but here we go. FP3 underway, the last FP3 of the year. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll out there first on the hard compound tyre, which is interesting. We'll see if they're just scrubbing these off, because Aston Martin like to do that. Not that it really helped them throughout the duration of this year, because their car has been dog. Fernando Alonso making some GP2-esque comments, GP2 engine-esque comments over the course of this weekend and last weekend. So yeah, he's becoming very frustrated at his time at Aston Martin. So, have I watched the Senna series yet? No, not really. I'm not too fussed about watching the Senna series, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed the Senna documentary film, and that was good enough for me. I know his story, I know his life. That was detailed enough in that brilliant documentary film. I don't want to spoil it by watching something that's potentially subpar to that. With a dramatisation. I don't really need to see that. At this moment, you're the better commentator of all the watchalongs. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. It's not bad at all. Nah. I'm watching a few different TV shows at the moment, so. You excited for the F1 movie? Hopefully, it'll be good. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's definitely got a good director. The guy, Jerry Bruckheimer, who directed Top Gun Maverick. So, that was a good film. Funny how people ignore Alonso rants but highlight Lewis Hamilton comments. More than Aaron. Alonso's the worst for it. Alonso is the worst for it. He's been thrown around, oh, maybe if I had a different passport, I wouldn't have got a penalty in Australia. It's like, oh, dude, really? You're throwing that card around? Like, definitely hyped for the F1 movie. I think it'll be good. Yeah, hopefully. Will we crack 34k before the end of the season? Hopefully, Mark. Hopefully. Yeah, how many do we have? 780, so we need 220. Yeah, we'll probably get that over the course of qualifying and the race on Sunday for sure. Hey, Cisco, good to see you. Do I think Ferrari can win the title? They definitely can, Elia. They definitely can. But will they? I don't know. I'm hoping there's a last shock, one more shock in store for this season for us. Of course, it's been a season that I don't think any of us expected. We all started this year with low expectations. Another year of dominance of Max Verstappen and Red Bull. No one been able to catch them, and oh my, how have we been surprised? Pleasantly surprised, to say the least. And yeah, hopefully there's one more surprise in store for us. At least taking it down to making it interesting to the last lap or so, because it's a shame Leclerc's got that 10-place grid penalty. Hopefully he can just make up those positions pretty quickly tomorrow and give us a race. But Abu Dhabi, unfortunately, isn't the best track as a finale. I just massively disagree with this track being the finale of F1, in my opinion. So when Alonso rants, his comments are highlighted. I know, yeah. You think Alonso says everything tongue-in-cheek now? He does, but he kind of waits. He kind of waits for it. He knows. As I said yesterday, Max and all these drivers, while they might not have a social media presence, like be that active on social media, they're all very aware of what goes on social media. They're all very aware of the reaction they will get if they say certain things in the media. Max is one of those. Alonso's one of those. George is probably one of those as well. Like, yeah, they very much are self-aware and they know what certain fan bases are like and what certain reactions they'll get. Oh, Alonso's saying, I think it's going to be a good day. I have a good feeling. Very positive Fernando Alonso this morning, guys. Let's see how long that lasts when he probably goes out in Q1. Fernando Alonso. He's feeling good. He's having a good day. He feels like it's going to be a good day. Let's see how long that lasts. How often have we all said that at 10 a.m. in the morning and then come 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're like, argh! Lawrence probably just paid him 10 grand for saying that. Probably. Wait till he comes across Lawson. Exactly, yeah. Every driver rants to get support or involvement. Exactly, Neville. And as we've said, with the whole Max and George situation, if you're not playing the stewards, if you're not trying to get other drivers penalties, if you're not trying to gain an advantage, whether it be in the media, whether it be in the steward's office, you're not playing F1 correctly. Lewis Hamilton has damn well done it before. Every driver has. So, as much as they're important, let's please not keep politics in today's streams. I disagree, Gaming. I think you have to talk about politics with F1. I've said before, real life politics we don't talk about, but politics in F1 is part of the sport, and we are discussing the sport and its importance. It's just like we talk about driver contracts and how we talk about rumours in regards to where drivers might potentially be going and breakdowns of relationships and so forth. Like, that's all important with F1. That's the thing. Like, it's all part of the sport, and it's all also influential to what can happen out on track. Because if you're not having a good time off track, it's more likely to say that you aren't going to have a good time on track either. Trust me, speaking from being a former golfer, I know that if things aren't going well off the golf course, you take that onto. It's hard to kind of separate that from what's going on the track as well. So, F1 without politics is like a Ferrari fan without severe depression. So yeah, it's always been part of the team. So, 10 minutes in, most teams aren't on track. Yeah, don't know why yet. Not entirely sure why. Maybe they're waiting for the track conditions to cool slightly. Oh, wow. Saw Pierre Gasly get the rear stepping out here. I wonder if we're going to see... Are we going to see... I don't think we're going to see crashes, but I tell you what, I reckon when it comes to qualifying, we're going to see quite a few laps ruined, and I think we might see some shockers in qualifying later on, because we've got the curbs, especially in the last sector. We're starting to see the drivers go over the curbs, and where they're having to run the cars so low, ground out, and they're really getting some tank swappers and really having to lift out of some of their laps. So I wonder if we'll see a couple of drivers just push it a bit too hard later on in qualifying, and that really kind of be a detriment to themselves, and maybe we'll see some shockers here in the last qualifying of the year. Ultimate use of stewards was that race. It's getting manipulated. Yeah. Did I see this Super Formula calendar? Yeah, I don't like it, Taco. I looked at it briefly when I was when I was out last night. When I was checking my phone, and yeah, I'm not a big fan, to be honest with you. Do I think Racing Bull should be sold and become a truly independent team? I agree. Yeah, I think that, Glenn. Personally, I don't like the idea that Red Bull has two teams on the grid. I do think that they have used Racing Bulls to help their team in the main team in the past. I think the whole purpose of them buying that team was to ensure that, look, young drivers could come through. It was kind of an admirable thing that they were doing. They were ensuring that, I can't remember which team it was. Which team did they buy, guys? What team was AlphaTauri formerly? Who did they buy? They were going out of business, weren't they? And then they stepped in and bought the team. I can't remember. And then Toro Rosso, no, that was their initial name. That was their first name. Minardi, that's it, Minardi. So they bought Minardi, and then what they were doing was admirable. It was admirable for them to basically keep the team going, so that obviously there wouldn't be a loss of jobs and to bring young drivers through. But I don't know, that team isn't what it is anymore in that regard. We've seen obviously Daniel Ricciardo chuck back in that team. Of course, Perez is in the top seat. That's pretty much, that second seat at Red Bull is pretty much like a paid seat, isn't it? And then was it Jaguar? I think it was Minardi. I think it was Minardi. So yeah, they've used that team as well to. There's definitely an unwritten rule or an agreement that's in place with Toro Rosso, especially with like fastest lap and stuff like that. Whereas like if you can hold up other teams, but when it benefits us and it's not going to ruin your race, please do. No doubts. But yeah, I mean, there's been a number of times where conveniently the top team have had an engine penalty, and Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri, whatever they were known as at the time, they would be surprisingly starting from the pit lane. So said driver who's taken a grid penalty doesn't have to get through two unnecessary cars. So things like that, really. It was Minardi. Okay, was Minardi. If people think everyone... I heard something. Memorable. Was it Jaguar? It was Minardi? Jaguar? No, Red Bull was Jaguar. Yeah, sorry. The Red Bull... The Racing Bulls. So AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso was Minardi. So why have we only got a couple of teams out there at the moment? Everyone's in the pit lane. It's so that Perez has devolved to the level of Stroll or Latifi. Fear about next season we might have a proper World Championship for the first 3 races, since I'm not even sure which team will be the fastest from all the big 4. Yeah, I mean, look, it's really... We're hyping it up for next season. I really hope we're not hyping it up too much. Because otherwise, I mean, we've been pleasantly surprised with this season, but there's reason to be hyped for next year, because it's just a continuation of the regs. Like, there's no major changes to the regs. What we're seeing now is what we should see performance-wise similarly next season. There's only so much performance gains that these teams can get in these current regs. So yeah, hopefully we start next season and we're like, it's just a continuation of 2024 with different drivers in the seats. So are the other teams asleep? I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. They're probably waiting for the track temperatures to cool a bit. 41 degrees. Don't think we're going to see that, of course, in qualifying or the race on Sunday. So they're probably just waiting. Will Alpine hold Haas off in the Constructors' Championship? I don't think so, Glenn. Well, actually, I say I don't think so. Maybe. I said that just then because of Jack Doohan. I don't see Jack Doohan getting the points, but Gasly is on a great run of form. Arguably the standout performer since the summer break. So, yeah, he could outscore Haas and ensure that he secures that P6 for Alpine. So, yeah, definitely. We'll keep an eye on that tomorrow. Will the cars be faster in 26, or will they make them smaller and slower? I don't know about... I haven't seen anything, actually, in regards to are they expected to be slower. They will be slightly lighter, and they will be slightly lighter, and they will be slightly smaller. What was really interesting, actually, was that I was watching Sky TV yesterday, and they've got a bit with Lewis Hamilton, and he was driving his former cars of Mercedes around Silverstone. And one of the cars that he drove was the first car of Mercedes that he drove, the 2013 car, the V8, and it's 200 kilograms lighter, and he instantly came back and went, that was so much fun to drive. It's really light. I could throw it around. It felt like I was driving a toy. And that's really interesting. Like 200 kilograms is a lot, but the cars we've got now are so heavy. Like they're the heaviest and largest they've been in F1 history. And that's why when you go back and watch highlights on YouTube and you watch the V8 era, the V10 era, like the 2000s and before the hybrid era, basically, you see the cars look quicker because they're smaller, they're more nimble, they're lighter, the change of direction is a lot quicker, and there's more room on the circuits as well, and obviously the sound as well. But I mean, yeah, they just look quicker, and I think that's the thing with F1 is that they don't need to be like overly quick, as in like, next year, if next year's cars are slightly slower, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as they still look quick, they're nimble, the entertainment factor is there, that's what matters, really. In my personal opinion, people will think otherwise, but I don't. I know F1's quick, but I'm not sitting here going, oh my god, they're a whole second quicker than last year. Ultimately, I want good wheel-to-wheel racing at higher speeds, so which F1 is always going to be able to achieve. 2012 was a crazy season, and we thought Vettel's dominance was going to be done in 2013, and 2013 was probably Vettel's most dominant. Yeah, exactly. Is there certain mandatory laps that they're supposed to drive in practice? No, you can drive as many laps in practice that you want. So drivers now coming out. So this might be why we were seeing the teams wait a bit longer, because they're going out on the softs. So maybe it's a tyre usage thing. Maybe they're trying to save tyres for the race on tomorrow. So maybe that's why they haven't got enough tyre allocation. So they didn't really want to use tyres unnecessarily. Hence why they're out there on the softs now. 22 regulation, make cars more wider and hard to overtake. Yeah, exactly, Jatan. Yeah, totally agree. We went in the wrong direction. The whole hybrid era. I mean, look, you're starting to add all these batteries into the car and the engines, and like the hybrid engines was so heavy, and that's why they're now trying to move away from that and kind of head back towards the smaller cars. It's crazy how big they are. Like, you stand next to one and you're like, oh my god, these are so big. They're so wide, so big. Like, how do people drive these, and how do they overtaking them? Yeah. Morning, Valoris. Good to see you. I'm sure in the other practices, Red Bull was sandbagging. Don't count Max. No, I don't. I'm not counting Max out at all. Swim. He was noticeably struggling with his front end though yesterday. So Max, we know, likes a pointy car. He likes a car that's sensitive on the front end, and he was complaining about a lot of understeer yesterday. But he did only have one practice session because Isaac Hadjar was in his car for FP1. So no doubt they've dialed that out for today, and I do expect them to have got that car in a nice, more balanced window. Who do I think will be on pole, Sasha? I just got a funny feeling McLaren are going to dominate. I really do. I think Lando's going to put it on pole. And I think Charles may split the McLarens. Maybe get into the top three. Then he's going to take that 10th place grid penalty. I mean, Sainz really needs to dig deep here this weekend and really needs to get ahead of the McLarens, because Leclerc obviously has got that penalty. He needs to try and hold up the McLarens as much as possible to be able to help Leclerc get to him, because if either Norris or Piastri win the race, that's it, done and dusted. So how stupid is FIA for the rules and regulations to make these modern cars so big and heavy? Yeah, I mean, it's not the FIA though, it's the fact of the main car manufacturers, the big Mercedes and so forth, like because hybrid is being introduced, because the hybrid and the batteries and so forth are being introduced into real world, the real world car industry. Hang on. Because of that, F1 decided to go into like the hybrid era of engines, and everyone has said that it's been a mistake. Everyone has said it's been a mistake. So, yeah, that's why we've obviously got the cars that we've got now. We went to ground effect to try and limit the amount of dirty air that was produced off of the cars. The kind of intriguing thing is that 2021, we actually had a lot of good wheel-to-wheel racing, as we always do at the end of a regulation set. So, just like now, we've got good racing. And what's going to happen is we're going to change to new regs, and we may have another team that's dominant again, and so forth. It's just a vicious cycle in F1. But yeah. You need to address the Schumacher incident at Qatar. Schumacher incident? Schumacher? Not entirely sure. Hey, Anthony, good to see you, mate. Yeah, doing well, doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope Saturday's treating you well, guys, wherever you are in the world. We will be back, of course, in a few hours' time at 2 p.m. UK time for the last qualifying session of the year. And just double checking it. It's 2 p.m. UK time. It is indeed 10:51. 10:51 at the moment. So in about 3 hours' time, we'll be back, of course, for qualifying. Doesn't matter, McLaren Ferrari's pace this weekend. I feel it'll be a close call, but yeah, I sit with McLaren 1-2 this race. Yeah, Norris did say yesterday that he does think that, well, maybe none of the other teams have turned their engines up yet. We don't know fuel loads, of course. That has a big factor, as Max on the medium compound tyre is now going fastest out there. So we'll see how he gets on. You think Joe's... for the cars under the rule book that they have to work from regulations that determine the length, width, etc. Yeah, they do, but they're highly influenced by what the real world manufacture. I mean, let's put it this way: 2026, the engines are going to these regs now because it was to entice Volkswagen, and Volkswagen aren't even joining, I believe. I think it was also to entice Audi, who've fucked up. But yeah, like the engine regs now are, I think it was actually, yeah, Porsche. It was to entice Volkswagen / Porsche, and Porsche backed out of a partnership with Red Bull, and that's now why we're stuck with these regs that are being introduced or coming in. So if Lawson goes to Red Bull Racing, it's a very big risk for his career. If he's not competitive with Schumacher, he'll risk being out by mid-season. Yeah, the thing is, though, David, is that I think people wonder why drivers take that seat at Red Bull. You have to take those opportunities if they're presented to you. You have to have the belief in yourself that you can beat Verstappen. Verstappen is human. Yes, he's brilliant. Yes, he's very talented, but he's not unbeatable. No one is unbeatable. And all these drivers on the grid have to have self-belief. If you don't have self-belief, what are you doing on that grid? If you don't have that level of confidence, and you don't turn down an opportunity at a top team, whether it's Red Bull, whether it's Mercedes, whether it's Ferrari, or whether it's McLaren. You just don't do that. And people will say whatever they will want to say, and the fact of it, have their opinions, but Lawson won't be able to go toe-to-toe with Max. But if I'm in his position, I'm taking that and I'm backing myself. If it turns out the eventuality is, yeah, look, Max is just better than me, so be it, but you don't turn that seat down. In my opinion, Perez will drive for Red Bull next year. Yes, Sasha. Yeah, I think he's... I think Red Bull want him out, but I think Perez has... I think Perez has got an airtight contract. I really do. I think there is... the comments coming out from Christian Horner recently stating it's down to... He's basically stating it's down to Perez. And that's what he's alluding to. But he's also alluding to the fact that Red Bull probably don't want him out. But Perez is bullish on staying. But he keeps reiterating, and he did again this weekend, he's got a contract. He also has belief in himself as well, I think. He sees it, right, well, next year I'll be level playing field with Max from the start again, and I can go again. People will call it delusional, but look, if he doesn't believe in himself, then what is he doing there? But he obviously has belief that he can, And that's why he's going to stick around and see out his contract. But yeah, I think he will be there for next year. I think he's got an airtight contract, and the amount of money he brings into the sport, there must be something in there with Red Bull that he's signed, whether it be there's a big buyout fee for him that Red Bull would have to pay, or they'd lose all the sponsors or something if they get rid of Perez. Something along those lines, maybe. Like, it has to be his decision to step down to ensure that they don't spend all this money or lose all this money, I think. So Danny Ritt is the example of losing confidence. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even Lewis. Look at Lewis. Like, the mental aspect is so important in F1. So important. And if you have confidence in your car, you're going to drive so much better. If you don't have confidence, like, how are you able to commit to your braking markers? How are you able to turn into the corner and expect, like, when you don't expect the car to do what you want it to do? There's a lot of that. And if you lose confidence in your car and you lose confidence in your team in making strategy calls and so forth, self-doubt starts to creep in, and yeah, you can easily lose time. And especially with how close this year has been. So, like, Lewis Hamilton is an example this year, and it'd be a good exercise to conduct, but I'm pretty sure he's had some shockers this year in qualifying, no doubt. But as an example, he has this year just been within a tenth of, say, the top 5, right? But that tenth of a second has meant that he's gone from starting on the front row to starting in P6, P7. And I think that's happened a number of times this season, and that's how close that's how close qualifying has been. So it's not necessarily Lewis falling off. It's the fact of that the level of competition is so high now, and especially with how close the performance is of these cars. In times gone by, that would have put Lewis in the top 3, because it only would have been 2 cars that are quick enough to do that. Whereas now we've got, thankfully as fans, 4 teams, excluding Perez, 7 cars that could be in any order come qualifying in all these in different race weekends. So exactly, the top 10 has been mad close often. So yeah, people will say, well, that's still a drop off, that's still a tenth off, and it is, but it's also in a car that he's not particularly confident in. And I'm just using him as an example of, like, how that slight lack of confidence can be the difference. Whereas going to a car or being in a car where you do have confidence can make the difference. So Checo could save his tyres and retire. Are Williams fixing Colapinto's car? Colapinto is back out there. He did have issues yesterday, Colapinto, so he missed a lot of FP2. George Russell stating, not sure what's going on, the car just feels very slow. So George Russell not liking the car. He's been complaining about the car all weekend. He complained about the brakes, and he complained about the balance of the car. So something not right in that Mercedes. And maybe, conspiracy theory time. I'm going conspiracy theory now. Maybe George Russell is driving Lewis Hamilton's car from the previous few races. They've given Lewis Hamilton George Russell's car from the previous few races as a send-off. Oh, I love a conspiracy theory. That's just a joke, guys. That's just a joke. If you recall, Lewis did go for a period of self-doubt about 10 years ago or so. Yeah, exactly. And some drivers wear their heart on their... Some drivers are able to deal with adversity better than others, and some people wear their emotions more on their sleeve than others, like heart on their sleeve. So I think Lewis has always been one of those. But yeah, just using him as an example of, like, having the confidence and then when not having confidence. I think we've seen that evidently this year, because there's been a few races where he's really been confident in the car and he's performed really well. And then I think about 80% of it, he's been obviously not confident. So that's what you was going to say, Coy. George must realise that you need more speed. You need to put more pressure on the accelerator. Yeah. Connor. George radio saying he has no balance issues, but just feels slow. His onboard looked fine. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know about George. Just said you suggested it, Connor. I actually took that from you. You saying that Lewis and George just swapped cars for this weekend for Lewis's send-off. So, Zhou Guan Yu not happy with Sergio Perez. Oh no. Maybe gave him... I think Lewis is going to steal Sainz's car mid-race and win. Oh, Carlos Sainz. Is he back in the pits? Carlos Sainz's engine was smoking. The rear of Carlos Sainz's car was smoking. Is he coming back into the pits? He is indeed. Oh no, Ferrari got engine issues with Carlos Sainz here. Oh no, that's not good. New battery already for Charles Leclerc, which means a 10-place grid penalty. And, well, Carlos Sainz's engine. Who was talking about engines earlier on? You've jinxed it. You were saying I missed the times of where engines just go pop. Well, you've got your wish. Carlos Sainz, his engine is not gone pop straight away. He's smoking, but actually he's going back out there. So they're putting him back out there. They've checked his car very, very briefly, and they've put him, and he's gone straight back out there. So we'll keep an eye out on Sainz, but yes, not a good look. It didn't look good. It didn't look like it was brake dust. So Paul de Gasly, yeah. Ferrari strategy for next year, he's tension on the throttle return spring. They'll have a winner to work through this flubber wire issues. Hang on. George Russell is absolutely bemused about his pace. Russell is saying everything feels reasonably normal. It's just slow. I think that's how Lewis has felt all year. I'm just slow now. George Russell is feeling like Lewis Hamilton has all year. What is going on with George? Is it the tyres? Is it the fact that the tyres, he's not been able to fire those tyres up and get them into an optimum window? Really, really bizarre. Conspiracy theorists are going to be going wild right now. F1 Twitter is going to be absolutely wild right now and jumping on those comments of George and going, see, especially with Lewis up in P5, you've now got his car. So, the tension between Ferrari and the wall this race, Pat being saying. Maybe it's operator error. This could be the worst race of 2024 with everyone more focused on next season. Yeah, that's the only problem, Raider. That's the only problem. I think the problem is as well is that the only thing we had to look forward to was the Constructors title. And with Charles Leclerc, with that 21-point gap being obviously coming into this weekend, there we go. George up into P9, but still 6.5 tenths off K-Mag. And still 2 tenths off of his teammate. So not great for George still. Still not great for George. What was I going to say? Yeah, the fact that Leclerc's got that 10-place grid penalty. I mean, I really hope we're still in for one more surprise this year. But Abu Dhabi, my expectations for Abu Dhabi are always low. I just don't think it's a great racetrack. I really don't. Mercedes tinkles with cars, end of story. They've done this since 2014. Yeah, that's true, David. Yeah. How is Haas so fast? They've probably turned up their engine. That's probably like a genuine, not a genuine quali run, but they've probably taken a lot of fuel out of the car. They've probably turned the engine mode up. A lot of the teams probably running lower engine modes. With it being the last race of the season, these engines have done quite a lot of mileage already. So yeah, we're not going to see true pace in this session until qualifying this afternoon. So Verstappen switched to Mercedes cars last night. He went secretly into the Mercedes garage last night and chucked some, like fruit or whatever into the exhaust pipes. Block them up. What are the car specs for 2026? Is there more hybrid engines? No. So, I need to really drum up on the 26 regs. But I think it's the MGK unit, MGUK unit is being removed. So in effect, I think it's the battery is basically being removed. So yeah, that's why they're going to be lighter. That's why, the engine's going to be different. So it's not, we're moving away from the hybrid era, but still not like properly V8 engines, unfortunately. So maybe unpopular opinion, in an even remotely competitive car, Russell can win the Drivers' Championship. No, I think Russell's got driver. I think Russell has got driver championship material. I really do. He needs to improve on his tyre management though. That's the problem for George, is that his tyre management is weak, and that's where he would probably fall down in a championship battle. But yeah, I think given an opportunity, he's proven at junior level he can win championships. I think a lot of these drivers, if they're given a championship winning car, they can. But there's a lot of drivers out there that can only win races, but they wouldn't be able to do it over the duration of a season, as we've seen from Perez, as we've seen from Bottas, as an example. So yeah, Norris, I think, definitely does have World Driver Championship material. You have to remember this year, learning curve for him and McLaren. They should have capitalised more. This championship should still be not even wrapped up, in my opinion, with the advantage that Norris has had. And no doubt McLaren and himself have faltered throughout the duration of this season. I mean, we forget Norris only won his first race this year in F1. So for him to maybe win that Drivers' World Championship, especially against Max, was something we put too much hope on, I guess. Hope or expectation on. And I guess that's because obviously McLaren had a very good car for a fairly good chunk of time in this season. So yeah, but look, you keep putting yourself in those positions, you learn from them, and you'll no doubt eventually win one. But yeah, I think Norris, if he's given an opportunity next year, it's whether or not if it's against Max or not, that's the difference. It's whether or not if Norris is in the fight for the championship and it's with Max, or if it's with Hamilton or someone else. I think Norris probably would actually do better if it was against someone else other than Max. So yeah, we'll see. If I'm not mistaken, it's the MGU-H they're removing, the thing that keeps the turbo spinning all the time, which is why they're talking... Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm not quite... I keep forgetting. I keep getting confused, Taco, of what they actually are doing with the engine element of it. I do really need to drum up on that, because that's the primary kind of alteration of this new regulation set. It's just like pretty much driven by the engine reg change, so... In my opinion, 2021 layout is worse than 2009 to 2020 layout. You reckon? I don't know. That championship statement is why Ferrari went for Lewis Hamilton. Experience in situation arises. Exactly, Aaron. Yeah. Do you think Piastri could become the lead driver for McLaren next year? If he consistently outperforms Norris... He hasn't consistently outperformed Norris since he's joined F1. We've seen periods, especially this year, especially that mid-season period where Piastri was the better driver. But overall, Norris has had the better of Piastri. I really thought Piastri would take it to Norris a bit more this year, but he's not started. He didn't start the year well, and he had a obviously uptick in the middle of the season, showing us what he can do. And then the end of the season has been pretty poor for him as well, which he even said himself. So, yeah, he needs to massively step up next year, because if he wants to have an opportunity going against his teammate or going against a world title and be that number one driver and get priority, then, yeah, he needs to beat Norris comfortably. So, did I see the GPDA photo? Yeah, I did, yeah. 2025 Max versus Russell beef goes to championship fight, and there goes Hamilton. What do I think the pole time will be later, Arnold? So last year, I think we checked, it was a 23.4 was pole position. On average, pole position this year has been about a second quicker, sometimes even more so. So 23.4 last year. So I reckon a low 22. I reckon a low 22 is what we'll see. 50% battery, 50% engine, cars only slightly smaller. Okay, Keith. There we go. In simplistic terms, that's what it is. I know they're trying to make them get less complicated, aren't they? That's what they're trying to do, so... 25 season is planned to be the last year to utilize power unit configuration introduced in 2014. Revised configuration without MGU-H, but with a high power unit from the MGU-K. Understood. Kinda. Bring the V10s back. Yes, bring V10s back. Bring back... Let's have some synthetic fuels and bring back V10s. That's the only reason why we've changed the way, is because it was supposed to be more environmental, but ultimately it's the fuel that wasn't environmental. So make synthetic fuels, make environmentally friendly fuels, and that way we can have V10s back, you know? Or at least like V8s. At least a V8. They're removed specifically for Porsche and Audi, yeah. And then Porsche, Volkswagen, dropped out. They're not even joining F1 now. Unbelievable. Stuff seeing all this engine talk and it's just like, like your funny words, Magic Man. I did a quiz last night, actually, and I'm intrigued. Right, speaking of Magic, very, very off topic right now. Very off topic. But I want to see if you guys know. No Googling either. This is a question. How many spells did Harry Potter successfully cast in the first film? Let me know. Just quickly. Just quickly. Never watched it. Never. Oh my god. Never watched it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A few answers. Barely remember the first. I know, it was quite some time ago now. Very long time ago. Okay. That's fine. Excuse me, never watched it. I know. You hate Harry Potter. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm nerding out here. It's 0. Whoever said 0. That's how bad Harry Potter is in the first film. And I was like, damn, I actually got that right. But I was thinking, oh my god, he's actually terrible in the first film. He doesn't successfully cast any spell. But anywho, back to F1. Honestly, he's useless in the first film. He is literally useless. No, Wingardium Leviosa is Hermione. Yeah, Hermione does that. Like, he literally does sod all in the first film. Like, he's just there. And just... Even the chess game. Ron Weasley did that. So, yeah, he was pretty useless. But, yeah. The poor lad was sleeping under the stairs. That is true, Mark. That is true. He was just happy to be there. Yeah, Ron carried. Yeah, Ron and Hermione carried. Yeah, so... But, yeah, the first film's probably the worst film, to be honest with you, when you look back at it. But no, I do like Harry Potter. That was just an interesting question from a pub quiz I was at yesterday, so... Rush was on TV? Yeah, great film. Great film, Rush. So... Albon, what the F? I know, Williams have decided to go for the glory run. They've turned up the engine mode, taken the fuel out, and they've done a genuine quali run-ish. We're still way off what we'll see in quali. Still way off. So, because the track temperature's nearly 40 degrees, it's starting to come down. But, of course, quali will be late afternoon, early evening, so... You grew up with Conan where at the start his village is destroyed and his mother is beheaded in front of him, so that sort of set the level. Oh, okay. Yeah, very different to Harry Potter. 4 seconds of qualifying pace. No, I mean we'll see times down into like the 23s in quali and 22s. That's what I fully expect to see. So last year's pole position was the 23.4, and I mean, on average, as I said, in quali, we're generally a second quicker than that, so throughout the duration of the season. But yeah, let's see. I think drivers are going to go out there and do some quali runs now with 15 minutes remaining, and even in these conditions. That'll give us some fun in this FP3 session. Maybe. We'll see if anyone decides to save maybe a set of soft tyres. It is the softest compounder tyre that we've got here this weekend, the C5. So, yeah. Don't think it's really going to be a race tyre for this weekend, the softs. It's normally a one-stop here at Abu Dhabi, which also makes it kind of less interesting. Unless the tyres really do fall off a cliff, which we have seen this season. So, do you still think Verstappen is understeering? I haven't seen any onboard footage, Prince, so to see if he is I haven't heard any radio messages, so he must have enjoyed those 9 laps that he did there on the mediums. His time is a lot better, but I don't think anyone's really gone out there and set blistering times though. So, but we're going to see a more true reflection of pace now, I think, because we are getting some quali runs late in this session. 14 minutes remaining. Oscar Piastri out there on a brand new set of softs as well. George Russell is on a brand new set of softs. So yeah, we're gonna get some quali runs now. Let's keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on the sector times for you, and we'll see who's looking good heading into qualifying this afternoon. You're wondering why there's such a strong Australian presence at the top level. What, in regards to what, just F1 or motorsport in general? You really do like, I mean, really, the Australians really do like their motorsport. Especially like the supercars. Like supercars, some of the most talented drivers out there to drive those things around so close to the walls, and just absolutely, some of those laps around Bathurst are just unbelievable. 23.5 Norris did in FP2, yeah. In F1, yeah, I think it's just, I think it may be because like cricket and rugby are the 2 main sports in Australia. I don't know how accessible motorsport is in Australia. Is it more accessible in Australia? I don't know. I know Australia has quite a high cost of living, so maybe karting and so forth is a bit more accessible. That could have an impact to it compared to what it is over here in the UK and Europe. So, where am I from? I'm from London, or just outside of London. Thank you for the sub, Piet. Much appreciated. Yes, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back this afternoon for our for our qualifying watch along, of course, where if you're new to the channel, practice is pretty much just myself kind of chilling, sitting back, having a chat with you guys, whereas with quali and the race on Sunday, we go into full commentary mode and provide you some alternative commentary here. So, yes, be sure to tune back in for that. For the last qualifying of the year, and we'll see what McLaren and Ferrari can do as they're challenging for this Constructors title. As Piastri, good laps, good first sector for him there, and that's the fastest we have seen all weekend in the Sector 1 there from Oscar Piastri. So very good. That was where the first sector yesterday, from the lap times that we saw, where drivers did some quali runs, McLaren were noticeably quicker than everyone else in the first sector. But George Russell's not too far off, about a 10th off in the first sector. We'll see what he is in the second. So Piastri coming down to turn 9, and he's fast. He's 2 tenths faster than George Russell in the second sector. So he's 3 tenths up on Russell at the moment. Russell going for a bit of traffic, so maybe that got in his way, so we'll see as he comes through turn 16. And what time can Russell set? Probably to the top of the timing sheets, and it is with a 24.0. How about Piastri? Around the last corner, and he does a 23.4, 6.5 tenths quicker than Russell. Damn. George is slow, isn't he? As he was saying earlier. What did you say, Connor, earlier? What did you say? I can't remember what I saw you say. Lewis's onboard looks so hooked up. He just needed an improvement in the final corner, but he broke too late. Interesting. So Lewis feeling comfortable in the car. Well, he's out there at the moment on an outlap, so we'll keep an eye out on Lewis in this car as Hulkenberg has gone purple in the middle sector. He's a 10th quicker than Oscar Piastri in the middle sector. Of course, still don't know about engine modes, still don't know about fuel loads, so there's still some discrepancies here, but Hulkenberg fastest in the middle sector is promising. As Lando goes P2, 2 tenths pretty much behind his teammate, and Hulkenberg goes P4. So wow, we had a terrible last sector there, Hulkenberg. I think he locked up somewhere, a 30.7 compared to those 4 tenths off of the McLarens in the last sector. Half a second off Piastri's last sector, so he really lost time there, Hulkenberg. But Verstappen, is he on a lap at the moment? Verstappen is on a lap, so let's see how he gets on. He's a bit off the pace. And yeah, 4 tenths back from Piastri, but that's better from Verstappen compared to yesterday. So let's keep an eye out on Lewis. Lewis looks a lot more comfortable in the car here this weekend. His last race with Mercedes. Is he going to put in a great last performance for us at Mercedes? Let's see. Are Mercedes going to give him the swan song Of course, he's already won in Silverstone and at Spa this year. A 17.17 in the first sector, so that's still a tenth slower than both McLarens, who are 17 flat in the first sector. He's just behind his teammates, actually, in the first sector, Lewis Hamilton. So let's see how he gets on in the middle and last sector. So heading down to turn 6, the hard braking zone there into the chicane. One of the primary overtaking spots here at Abu Dhabi, at Yas Marina circuit. So is he going to get affected here as he heads down into turn 9 by Norris and Magnussen? Maybe, we'll see. A 36.181 for Lewis puts him P4 in that. He's basically a couple of hundredths behind Oscar Piastri. He just split the two McLarens, so a good middle sector for Lewis. But here comes the tight, twisty, slower section, the slow speed corners. Around the hotel he goes, tight to the wall on the exit of turn 14, and then very quick here through turn 15 and turn 16. We see lots of off tracks through that corner, turn 15 to 16, and Lewis only goes P7. Damn, that is a terrible last sector. Wow. He lost half a second on Piastri and Norris in the last sector. So, a mistake there from Lewis in the last sector there. I'm trying to see where exactly it happened. They're on board with him now. Any sign of DAS today? As Verstappen is reporting his brakes are not working. His front axle isn't biting. It's like something glazed or something. So watching Lewis. It's a bit wide through turn 12. And then... no, just slow in the last sector, the Mercedes. The Mercedes is just slow in the last sector. Like, really slow. So... Edge, would more mandatory pit stops make races more interesting? Maybe they have to run a minimum of 2 softs during the race and they have a choice for third. So mandatory pit stops, more mandatory pit stops would make the race more interesting. I don't dislike one stop strategies. What I dislike is really Pirelli. I think Pirelli, and it's a fine line really, because of course they don't want tyres that are blowing up all the time, but I feel like more often than not Pirelli are too cautious on their tyre choice, and probably how they, I don't know how they construct their tyres, but how they construct them clearly. I mean, we've seen a number of times throughout the duration of this season where we think there's going to be a 2-stop and it turns out that they're able to take a set of tyres 20 laps more than what Pirelli is suggesting. And it just ruins the race. I like the idea of a 1-stop where there is an element of tyre management that has to come in. And there's I think some of the most interesting races are where it's on the verge of you can do a 1-stop, but your tyres are really going to be struggling at the end. Or you can do a 2-stop. I like it's like where there's a bit of risk with both, basically. Do you go for the aggressive 2-stop where you can go as fast as you want, but you're going to lose time in the pits? Or do you go for the more conservative 1-stop, ensure you have track position, and then hold on to your tyres? And then we have a convergence at the end of the race where we have that battle out on track. I like those the best. Obviously, it's difficult to try and get that and ensure that happens at a lot of circuits. But more pit stops don't always make the race more interesting, but I think at definitely circuits like Abu Dhabi, they definitely help. So I prefer the IndyCar method, 2 types of tyre, and you stop when you decide. Yeah, so they're talking about, I think it's Karan Chandhok has always said he's a big advocate of teams having to use every single type of compounds for the duration of a race. So you have to, you always at least have a 2-stop race, and you have to use a soft, medium and hard throughout the duration of the race. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, that's what he suggested. No team really finds out the true pace life of a tyre, nor did Pirelli. Yeah. How are the new tyres that Pirelli tried some? We won't know. We won't know, Arnold, until next year. So Pirelli obviously will gather the data and they'll construct the tyre based upon the data that they've gathered. So for next year. Thank you, greatest. It's much appreciated. Glad you've been joining the stream. If everyone's been enjoying the stream, please hit that like button, as always, and continue to hit that subscribe button. Let's get this stream to 33. Oh, I need 8 more subs to get to 33,800. It'd be great to hit 34k this weekend to the last race of the season. Don't make mandatory pit stops. Make the teams find out the hard way if they push the tyres. Far better would be the flat-out racing in the Schumacher days. Fuel and tyres and no managing of tyres. I disagree with that. I don't think they were necessarily driving flat out the whole time. And the thing is, with fuel as well, there was lots of games played with the fuel. So yeah, I don't think refueling is the answer. And we saw what happened with drivers driving at full speed, 100% of the time back in Qatar last year, and it was a boring race. So I don't think that's the answer the whole time. I do think if you remove tyre strategy and tyre saving as an element in F1, I think you'd have I think the sport would be a lot more boring. I don't think you realise how much good racing occurs because of someone eating into their tyres more than someone else and so forth. If they're less cautious, everyone is complaining as well, and if you have to choose between boring racing and a damaged company name, everyone will do the same. No, I get it, Noah. I know. They're in a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Really. They really are. So. Is there anything wrong with Charles's car? No, nothing wrong. No, look, no one's still showing their true hand right now into their pace. Ferrari still, of course, have pace in hand. They're probably still saving a bit of the engine. They might have more fuel on board. We don't know. But McLaren obviously want to make a point. They want to show to Ferrari, this is what you've got to contend with this weekend. We're looking strong. We're laying down the marker that you need to come and beat us this weekend. You need to do something special because we are looking quick, which they most definitely are. So, yeah, we're still a second. Well, actually, that lap time there of Piastri would have got pole position last year. But yeah, on average, the cars are a second a lap quicker in qualifying from last year. So we're still a second off of that, basically, of last year's pole time, or of improving last year's pole time. So yeah, definitely going to get a lot quicker in qualifying later on, especially as well in cooler track conditions. Still higher track conditions here, 39 degrees. That won't be the case as we head into night time. Listening and watching while building a sim rig. Oh, nice one, Aaron. What one did you get? It's all about the tyres. Exactly. It is. F1 is all about the tyres because it's the only part of the race car that touches the ground. That is how important tyres are. People get bored of tyres, but it doesn't matter how good of a machine you make. The only part that touches the ground, the only thing that makes the car go forward is the tyres. Or takes you forward, you know. Like, the car still would go forward if it didn't have tyres, you know, but it wouldn't go very far. You get what I mean. So. P1X Pro. Oh, nice one, man. People want to see tyres changing, exciting judgment calls. Just put some sprinklers on the track at random times. Dry to wet to dry. I'm a bit, I don't know. I'm still kind of against that. I'm against forced kind of drama. Really. I am. The fact that we've got 24 races, I accept that not every race is going to be like amazing. Just like every single football match you watch isn't going to be amazing. Every single cricket match, tennis match, whatever it is, like, no, I accept that. But yeah, I at least want to be able to see that most like there's an element of strategy involved and stuff. Like, I love that. I love the strategy element of F1. So. Cars are drifting on the last corner. Will be interested to see track limit in quali. Yeah, so the last corner, we've always seen that. The last corner is where we've seen a lot of track limits enforced, and we've seen drivers' times be deleted. This circuit in general, when they're pushing, especially through turn 1. Turn 1 is also another corner where we see track limits. So yeah, turn 1 and turn 2, I think it is, and then the last corner of turn 15. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting quali. McLaren definitely looks strongest as we hit the checkered flag right now, and yeah, I mean they're both looking good. It's whether or not if Ferrari still have a bit of pace in hand, and they haven't shown their true hand yet, and I hope so. As a much better lap time, by the way, there at the end from Lewis Hamilton. So that was much better from Lewis. He finally hooked up the last sector, but was still 3 temps. Still 3 temps off of Piastri and Norris in the last sector. So in the slow corners, the McLaren seems to be best at the moment. But as I said, don't know fuel loads, and we don't know engine modes that are being used either. So there might be some extra power in the other cars. You could also argue that the tyres are the only part of the cars that are the same as others. True, true. Turn 1 and turn 16 is what you need to watch out for, yeah. Why did they take out the chicane at turn 4? It was to try and promote another overtaking opportunity. So you never really saw... There was not a long enough run from turn 1, like, well, at least when you got like straight lines from turn 3 to the chicane to really make an overtake. They just went single file the majority of times for the chicane, and it kind of ruined an overtaking opportunity and kind of ruined the flow of the circuit. So they removed the chicane in F. It's still there, but in for the F1 race it's not. And then you'd see at least a few more different lines and approaches into turn 5, and it gives us a bit more overtaking down into turn 6. So promote Verstappen's dive bomb on the soft tyre. Hamilton will be cooking this qualifying, and as for George, you feel sorry. Where was George there? P6, not too bad, but yeah, not happy with his car. Not happy with his car. Everyone's successful around the world because of the speed they do and the driver ability to handle them. Yeah, you don't want them to be too easy to drive, which they definitely aren't. So, but yes, guys, that is it for this last FP3 session of the season. Wow, what a year it's been. So Piastri there and Norris in P1 and P2 as we're about to head into qualifying this afternoon. Hamilton in P3. So he's looked strong this weekend thus far. Bit of a swan song. Maybe they have, conspiracy theory, tampered with Lewis Hamilton or swapped cars with George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. And now Lewis has got the confidence in the car. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton in P3 there. Verstappen in P4, still complaining about his car. Complaining about the brakes, complaining about the front end, still not biting. So we'll see how he gets on. Still good for him being in P4 as it stands. Sainz in P5, Russell P6, complaining about the car. As we mentioned, Hulkenberg and Magnussen looking good. That's a good benchmark for them. And especially going into qualifying, looking to secure P6 in the Constructors' Championship and get ahead of Alpine, who of course have Doohan for the first time this weekend in his first F1 race, and Gasly, who's on a good run of form at the moment. Leclerc in P9, who we know has that 10-place grid penalty for Sunday. Perez in P10, Tsunoda in P11, Albon P12, Gasly P13, Doohan 14th, Alonso 15th, Bottas 16th, Lawson 17th, Stroll 18th, Zhou 19th, and Colapinto 20th. So, yeah, that is it for the last FP3 session. We'll see who's going to be quickest in qualifying in a few hours' time. Lots of drivers, no doubt, probably still running low engine modes. It's the last race of the season. These engines have done a lot of mileage on them already. No need to stress them in FP3. They put that stress on them in qualifying, and then the race come Sunday. So, yeah. Do I think Ferrari can lock and win the championship? They can. Will they? After Leclerc's penalty, I'm less inclined to say that they will. So, just switch to Hot Tune ECU. Yeah, Zhou 4 points, Perez 4 points last 5 races. I did see that. Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? That is bad. How was Zhou's performance? So. I mean, P19. I don't expect the Stake F1 car to be strong here, like they were at a more tight, twisty circuit of Qatar. So, but yes, there we go, guys. That is it for this FP3. I'm going to call it there. I need to go and have some lunch. I'm still super hungry, and yeah, we'll be back in a few hours' time. So qualifying's on at 2 o'clock UK time. So you're talking. I'll be live again in a couple of hours, basically, because I'll go live 15 minutes before qualifying gets underway. And yeah, hope to see you guys then. Who's going to be on pole position? Is it going to be Charles Leclerc, and is he going to just limit the amount of damage that he's going to receive in that grid place penalty that he has on Sunday? Will it be the McLarens, who, of course, look strong here, and they're looking to secure their first Constructors' Championship in 26 years? It'll be pretty unforgivable if they aren't able to. Or will it be Carlos Sainz? Will Carlos Sainz actually be able to get ahead of the McLarens and hold them up to ensure the best opportunity for Ferrari to win the Constructors? Or is it going to be a swan song for Lewis Hamilton? Are we going to see one final great performance in that Mercedes, ending 10 years at the team? Or would it be Max again, digging deep, as we have seen from him many a time this season? He's complaining about the car at the moment, but you would not be forgiven if to see Max as George Russell, potentially impeding Lando Norris there down into turn one. I'm just seeing, we'll see. But yes, guys, see you in a few hours' time. I'm going to go set up the stream. Turn your notifications on, as always, to ensure you are notified of every single stream and video that I do, so you never miss out. Hit that like and subscribe button one last time, and we'll see you in a few hours. Go grab some dinner, go grab some breakfast, lunch, wherever you are in the world, and yeah, we'll reconvene then. See you then, guys. Bye.